welcome to exploringgermany.net, your favorite lifestyle and travel blog. I am your host, Craig Mumford. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the page if you like what you're seeing, and you'll get notifications every time I post a new video. So today we're talking about first impressions. This is part of a continuing series where I talk about my first experiences in Germany and the things that I noticed. So we're talking about German cordiality. So what do I mean when I say that? Well, what I mean is that Germans have a bad rap because they're known as being rude and cold people, when in reality they're just reserved. Americans will strike up a conversation with anybody, including the person standing behind them in the grocery line, talking about their life story and everything that's going wrong in their lives, and really just sharing personal information that Germans just don't do. Germans are very selective in what they tell you, unless you're a close friend or family member. So why do Germans do that? Why are they so selective in what they tell you? Is it really a bad thing? Do you really want, the person behind you in the grocery line to know about your debt situation, or that your kid is failing this or that class at school? No. I think most of us don't. It's just part of the American culture to just talk to people. And it's not that Germans don't talk to people. Let me give you a great example when we're right back. Welcome back to exploringgermany.net. So one thing that Germans do to be friendly is that they will greet you. Germans love going for walks, especially on the weekends, on holidays. And when they pass you, they will greet you. They will say good morning, guten Morgen, or good day, guten Tag. And the first time that happened to me, I just didn't know what they were doing, and I mean I knew what they were saying, but I was like, what? I don't know you. And as that started happening more often, I of course adopted that myself, and it feels good. It's not like they're being your friend. It's just, they feel it's rude to pass somebody on the street or on the sidewalk or whatever and not say anything to them, because it's normal that you look at somebody as they're approaching you. And as soon as you look at somebody, Germans feel that you need to say something. You need to say hello. Otherwise, you're just staring. So welcome back to exploringgermany.net. We've been talking about Germans being cordial, and one of the things that I notice is that every time that you greet someone in Germany, you shake their hand. Now, we do this in America as well, usually in business settings, but also usually only the first time that we've met somebody. Well, in Germany, you do this every time you meet somebody and every time you greet somebody. And not only in business settings, but also in social settings or any kind of setting where you greet somebody. So let me give you an example. I used to be an English teacher, and I had students, from 6 weeks all the way up to months. And every time that they would walk in the room, they would shake my hand. And they would shake each other's hands. And I started noticing this and thinking, well, wait a minute, we've already met each other. Why are we doing this? So I asked them. I said, what's the deal with this? In America, we don't do this. So explain this to me. And they couldn't really give me a straightforward answer as to why, except that in German culture, it's rude not to. You're taking the time to greet someone and ask them how they're doing, so you should shake their hand. I started adopting this habit as well, of course, especially with Germans, because I didn't want to be seen as rude. And I just started to feel that it was important. It really did show that they were important enough to me for me to shake their hand. So what other ways are Germans cordial? Well, stay tuned to find out. So Germans have this custom of giving a token of appreciation to their teachers, trainers, coaches, group leaders around Christmas time. I don't know where this tradition has come from. Nobody can explain it to me. It's just their answer is that's how it's always been. It's nice, of course, especially if you're the one receiving the gift. But if you're not used to it, as I was, it was weird. Because, and we have this, in America, we have this custom, I guess, this sense of, well, you've given me something, now I have to give you something. But that's not how it works with this custom. It would be inappropriate for the teacher then to give that student something in return. As I said, it's a token of appreciation, so giving something back would take that token of appreciation, it would take it away. So if you get a gift like that, if you're an English teacher or something like that, and you get a gift from your students, just say thank you. And if you want to do something for the students in return, then you need to do it for the whole class. Bring, some cookies that you baked at home, or, call it a Christmas party or something like that. And that way you're that feeling that you have, you're easing it, but you're not taking away that feeling from the students that have given you something. And not every student will. Not every student follows this custom. But you'll find that most do. So you'll get a lot of chocolates and you'll get a lot of bottles of wine. I used to joke with my students and say, what, are you going to get me fat and drunk? And they would laugh, and just say, well, that's just our tradition. So what other traditions do Germans have for being cordial? Well, stay tuned. Welcome back to exploringgermany.net. We've been talking about German cordiality, and one of the things that I experienced pretty early on was being invited to people's homes for a get-together. This could be a barbecue, a game night, watching the World Cup. I've even been invited to Halloween parties. And it's customary when you're invited somewhere to bring a token of appreciation to the host. This is usually a bottle of wine, that might even be consumed at that get-together, but you're just showing thank you for, investing time and money in me. Now, I was unaware of this, and of course, the first time I was invited, I didn't bring anything. Needless to say, I was not invited in the future. But as I thought about it, it really just made a lot of sense to me. Now, why is this? Again, so many customs in a country as old as Germany can't necessarily be explained. But we have similar customs in America. Usually it's like a potluck where you're just kind of told, hey, we're having a get-together, everybody bring a dish. But it's unusual, or might even be considered rude, to bring alcohol when you're invited somewhere. So we don't do that with bringing a bottle of wine or sparkling wine in that sense. We just usually, if we feel we need to show thanks to the person, we bring a dish with us. When you're invited to people's homes for get-togethers in Germany, it's important to remember that you are not their friend. Americans use the word friend a lot more openly than Germans do. Germans reserve that word, that title, for those that are really close to them. I often joke and say that, you can know somebody for 20 years and hang out with them and they still are not your friend. And that just means that when you're invited, you need to follow the social rules of when it's time to leave. Americans, we like to hang out. We just kind of go with the gut feeling of how much fun we're having. But Germans, they have a little bit stricter rules about when it's time to leave. If your host starts talking about what time it is, how late it is, and that they have to get up in the morning, that's their signal to you to go home. Don't follow the signals of their friends, the people that are they're closest to, they have that privilege to stay longer. They'll help clean up, but that's not something for you. I usually just start getting ready to leave when I start noticing other people leaving. They are certainly more adept at the social rules than I am, so I just kind of follow the lead of those around me. And that's worked pretty well for me. So that's really all I have to say today about German cordiality. But before I close, I just wanted to share a couple words with you about the difference between that reputation that Germans have and the reality. It's not that Germans are rude. Germans are very private people. You will not have conversations with people where they tell you about what's going on in their lives. It'll be very, scratching the surface. Just, you'll know where they work. You might know how many kids they have, their kids' names and ages, but you won't hear about what grades they're getting, what subjects they're taking, and that's fine. Germans, like I said, you can be friends with them for 20 years, and they're still actually not your friends. I've lived in Germany for 19 years, and I've got maybe 3 or 4 people that I consider to be my friends, and they consider me to be their friend. But I know hundreds of people, and I have get-togethers with many of them, but none of them are friends. I actually made the mistake early on. I'd only been here maybe half a year, and I was just out for a Sunday walk, and I was walking down the street, and I realized, oh wait, a friend of mine lives here. So I just knocked on the door and just said, hey, I'm in the neighborhood. What you doing? And I got a talking to. Not a mean talking to. Luckily, they were close enough with me that they explained to me that, I understand you do this in your country, but you don't do that here. If you want to visit someone, you call and make an appointment. I still find that a little bit strange. I have to make an appointment with a friend to say hi. But that is how it is, and when in Rome, you do as the Romans do. So these are just some tips and pointers of how to get by with German cordiality, and when you do, you'll find that they're not rude and unfriendly. They're actually very warm, welcoming people. Just keep your distance. Well, that's all for today, folks, on exploringgermany.net, your favorite lifestyle and travel blog. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the page. And if you like what you're seeing and hearing, please leave some suggestions and comments below. I love to hear what you have to say. You can also follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Well, see you around, guys. Tschüss!